Hello, welcome to Ontario Film Festival. Today is our first live panel. My name is Sharif Awad. I'm very happy to welcome actress Tess Pentos and
Hello.
writer and producer Patricia Chica. How are you?
Hello, doing fantastic. And you?
Yes, everything is okay. Today we are discussing, the challenges of filmmaking and production in Canada. Patricia, the circumstances we are experiencing right now.
Yes, I couldn't hear the part of the question, so would you mind just repeating it? You cut off a
Sure,
little
sure.
bit.
Sure. I want to ask you, how do you qualify the circumstances right now in Canada and around the world related to film production?
Well, from my perspective, 2020 has been a challenging, but at the same time, redefining year for our industry and our workflow. So I come from this mindset that if you don't adapt to the current times, you will not survive them. And I had decided very early during the lockdown to reinvent myself and find ways to stay productive despite the fact that everything was shut down. So during the pandemic, it has been very rewarding for me. I was able to write a lot more than I used to have time for. And I just wrapped this week my debut feature, Montreal Girls. So even during COVID, we found ways to adapt the script and also the production strategies to fulfill those regulations.
Yes. How about you, Tess?
I mean, it's definitely changing times. I think it's a matter of adapting and being creative at this point. We just have to adjust and make the best we can. I know us artists in front or behind the camera have the bug, the passion, the fire. And no matter what, we will persevere and have our art come through. It is challenging. It is tough. I mean, smaller productions, smaller crews, sorry. Fewer productions for now until everything is settled, until the new norm is established and safety measures have been properly put in place. I think all around, it's a matter of adapting and making the best of the situation. I mean, personally, as an actress, I had the time to develop further my skills, time that not necessarily would have been given to me because I would have been busier. However, I was able to do a couple of classes, courses online. Everything was transferred online, which gave us a broader access to us actors to be able to continue to cultivate, what we really believe in and fight for to be on film. So I think it's just a matter of adjusting and really, becoming accustomed to the new norm of the times and persevering.
Yes. Patricia, I've been reading right now in the news in the States. Some cinemas, are experiencing problems like AMC and Regal Cinemas, what do you think is happening right now regarding film distribution? Because, of course, this is something or a stage you will think about, regarding your new projects.
Has been a shift, that's for sure. And I can observe it through publicity of films, distribution of films. Even the film festival world has been shifted upside down. Most people have been able to adapt pretty well. And for distribution, where I see we can sustain ourselves as filmmakers and producers in the midterm, while this is going on, is to go towards the web, the internet distribution. People are still watching content. People are thirsty for great stories. And from my observation and conversations I've had with other experts, is mostly uplifting material, something that is inspiring, something that takes us outside of what's going on in our realities. So this is the type of content that I believe we should be producing and writing right now, and envisioning to produce for the following years. After each depression, we know in cinema history, people have been drawn into comedy and more happy content. So this is what society is looking for: is to feel better, is to feel empowered, is to dream, to escape. So for distribution purposes, the film festival world is doing pretty well. It's not ideal not being able to network, to travel, to see films with an audience. But from what I have observed in the films that I'm involved in right now, is that filmmakers have access to their audience worldwide through the web, through screenings online, and they can reach out to a wider audience than they would normally in a theater that has a capacity of 300 seats. And this is something incredible. I'm one of the producers of a short film called Tribes right now. And that short film is screening at the LA Short Fest, which is an Academy qualifying festival for short films. And usually at the theater, we would have 250 people at the Chinese theater, maybe 400, 500 max. And we have surpassed the 50,000 views, so much so that it has put us on the radar for an early Oscar buzz. And I strongly believe, because of the circumstances of being during this pandemic, showing the films online, it has really helped us as filmmakers and producers to promote ourselves and reach out to our own audiences, something we couldn't have done if the film was only presented one time or twice at the theater.
Yes. Tess, do you have finished projects right now ready to be screened soon?
I do have some finished projects. Unfortunately, the release dates have been pushed forward because the production companies are still trying to figure out whether they want to release them right now or they want to hold off and do like a bigger release once things are a little bit more settled on how the pandemic is going and how it's progressing. So there are some delays right now in releasing. There are also talks of, possibly releasing online. A lot of the production companies I'm working with are trying to avoid that because they kind of want to make a bigger bang with, having an event and so on. So it is, a matter of time and really seeing how, this pandemic really progresses, or, hopefully it's over soon and we can all go back to doing our job,
Yes. Tess, sorry, Patricia, right now, people started to think ahead in the States, especially. It is the biggest industry, one of the biggest industry in the world, of starting streaming services. A lot of streaming services launched during this lockdown, in addition to the one also already present, like Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu. Do you think it's time for Canadian, filmmaking as well to start its own streaming services, just in case, of the COVID stay with us more time?
Absolutely. There is an audience for Canadian cinema. Canadian cinema, especially in the English-speaking world, blends a lot with the American cinema, international cinema. So it is important as Canadians to have that pride, to have our own streaming services. It's something the broadcasters are already doing. So broadcasters have their online platforms with the films they showcase. In Quebec, the French province of Canada, there are a few streaming services for French-Canadian content. So, but where I believe the audiences are not necessarily at the national level like Canadian cinema, where it's more niche subject matter. So people who love certain genres of film or some topics, or people who are looking for more educational content of films that can improve their lifestyle, their mindset, their way of seeing the world. So I believe where the future is into niche markets.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're looking for specific content, you don't want to surf Netflix for 3 hours to find the film that you would like or the subject matter you're attracted to watch. But if this certain platform has exactly the type of content you love, you will be drawn to become a member of the platform and always keep watching, discovering new content, because you are already into that niche specific audience target. So that's where I believe people should go towards.
Yes. Tess, I think you're going to start to shoot a new film tomorrow.
So I didn't hear you clearly.
To shoot a new film tomorrow. Starting to shoot a new film tomorrow.
Yes, I am starting a new film tomorrow. It's a short film. It's a horror film I'm very excited about. It's being shot in Alberta, where it's really cold right now. And from what I hear, it's -9 as of tomorrow. And I'm excited to be shooting this horror film and being part of a crew and a cast in these tough times, these new times that we are all adjusting to.
Yes, speaking of horror films, we have a documentary called Quiet Revolution in the festival. It's a documentary about the socio-political history of horror cinema in Canada, starting from the 70s with early films, and the movie will play in a moment after our panel on the event platform, and then we will have a talk about the filmmakers. But I think interesting genre of film, the short horror films. I don't think there's a lot of short horror films around, huh? Only feature film. What do you think?
Feature films, yeah, mostly from what I'm aware of, from what I've seen at least. So I think it would be a good opportunity for a short, and now in the days that we live in, it can possibly turn into a TV show, or it can be considered as a pilot and like turn into something even bigger. So you never know these days how like things can develop, because you have so much. You're able to communicate with the world of film and the industry and investors and funding, etc. It's such a bigger expanse than you used to because of the internet. So it's huge.
Yeah. I hope it's not about a virus in the world.
No. It's actually called Highway 13, and it's a very, very cool script. It has to do with a highway where for over 100 years bad things happen on this highway. A lot of people's lives are tested, so it should be interesting to watch.
Yes, excellent. Patricia, I want to ask you about when you start a project, what are the primary sources for funding you start to look for? Is it inside Canada, and which entities, or do you look outside of Canada, in the States or in other parts of the world?
I look everywhere where my project or myself as a filmmaker would be eligible to apply. So I don't discriminate any source of funding. But the main ones in Canada that we can submit to for the bigger chunks of money for a theatrical feature or documentaries are obviously Telefilm Canada is the Canadian government's funding agency. And then each province in Canada also has their own provincial stream where people from those provinces who are residents of those provinces can apply. For myself, I'm a permanent resident of Quebec, so I applied to SODEC. I've been very fortunate and grateful that SODEC and Telefilm have been supporters of my feature Montreal Girls. But there are so many other streams like Canadian Arts Council, and depending on the project you have, there's regional funds, there's more international funds, like you can go through labs, through institutes like the Sundance Institute, Tribeca Institute, Film Independent, for documentaries, ITVS, PBS. There are so many streams. If you do a search online, nofilmschool.com actually has a very accurate list and updated list of all the funding agencies. So if you're curious to find out more about it, go to nofilmschool.com and just do your research. There's money out there. I don't believe we have a lack of funding, but you do have to stand out with high quality productions, high quality scripts, and packaging. It's very important to surround yourself with the right partners, with people who have the experience, with great high level producers. And even if you're starting out as a beginner, new filmmaker in the industry, there are streams where you can submit your projects and get funded as a first-time director, first-time producer, as a young person, people of color, LGBT. Diversity is very well embraced in Canada right now. So, and even in the United States.
Yes, yes, and diversity is the motto of the festival. So,
Yes.
yes, and Test, how long you will shoot your new film? For how long?
It's very short. It's very short for me. It's only 4 days of filming, so it's nice and sweet and short. But I'm very, very excited for it.
Yes, excellent. Patricia, right now, I know that the borders are closed between Canada and America and maybe other countries. Do you think this will affect the projects that usually come to shoot in Canada from the States and sometimes from Europe?
I'm pretty sure it's affecting it. However, I'm aware that there are 2 or 3 American productions presently filming in Quebec, in Canada. There are permits that are being given to exceptions. I'm not aware of the specifics, to be honest with you, but it's something you should inquire. If you're thinking of traveling abroad to film with an international co-production agreement, there could be ways for you to travel. Mm-hmm. But it's not recommended anyway for anybody to travel during this time. So better wait for your production.
Yes. Yes, excellent. Tess, Spencer, and Patricia, I want to thank you both for joining us. And I hope next year we can screen your new films in the 2nd edition of the festival. And I wish you all the best, and please stay safe and keep on the creativity. And thank you again for joining us live on our Facebook and YouTube page.
Thank you, Sharif.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you. An honor for us as well. And thank you again, and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.